Chapter 19. Kassi Theo. I woke up in the middle of the night to loud whimpering. When my eyes adjusted to the light, I saw Orion's paws twitching as he whimpered. I turned my lamp on and slowly walked toward him. When I got close enough, I carefully laid my hand on his belly. He woke up with a growl and I quickly snatched my hand back. I gave him a sheepish smile. "Hey buddy, you doing alright?" He looked at me with caution before laying on his back, exposing his belly toward me. I beamed. Finally, at least one dog liked me. Growing up, I was never really allowed to have pets because we were either constantly moving or my mom thought we were too immature for a pet. I wasn't even allowed a goldfish because of my mother's fear of me accidentally killing it. Plus, whenever I was around some type of dog, they would always run away from me or hide behind something. After a while, I got sick of it and decided that dogs and me just don't mix. And don't even get me started on cats. All I'll say is that they're pretty to look at, but that's just about it. I rubbed Orion's tummy and decided just to talk to him, even if he had no idea what I was saying. This new school is interesting. I began. The people are, from what I know, nice and welcoming, but it's just my first week. His tail thumped against the wooden floor loudly, so I took it as a sign to continue. I've met some friends, I think. They're nice, but they weren't at school today. I hope I didn't scare them off. He got up and sat next to me with his tongue hanging out. His tail thumped louder. I sighed. I really hope I didn't scare them off, or else it's gonna get real awkward. He tilted his head to the side. It was funny to me because it was like he was asking me why. I sighed. "You're lucky you're a dog and don't have to deal with human problems." He whined. I was about to calm him down when I heard my brother crying from his room. I flew up and swung open his bedroom door. Orion followed me as I ran to Aries' side. "Aries," I shook him. "Wake up." He whined and it reminded me of the whine Orion let out a second ago. I looked at the dog and found him starting with my brother. I started to freak out when Aries wouldn't wake up and kept on whining. "Aries, buddy, come on. Wake up. You're scaring me." No response. A minute later, he began to shake. Chapter 20. Rhys Theo. I leaned against my truck, waiting for the Alpha Matthews plane to land so I could immediately take him to my pack and discuss the details regarding this very unique situation. Mason, my fourth, bounced on the balls of his feet, eagerly awaiting the Alpha. "You think he's a jerk?" Mason asked. "Nah," I said lazily. "I think he's like every other Alpha we've encountered." "Oh really?" A amused voice sounded from our left. "Your friend's right. I am a jerk." We turned and saw a hulk of a man standing there with an eyebrow raised and arm wrapped around a pretty brunette's waist. The brunette was smiling while holding onto a small pink bundle in her arms. A mini version of the man was holding onto her leg as he observed us quietly. I was shocked with how much power the children had for being so young. Normally, inheriting the alpha wolf genes was a hit or miss. You either had it or you didn't. There was no in between. Usually, elders of the pack could determine if a kid had the gene by one of two ways, either asking them to transform into their wolf early or measuring the dominant power that radiates off them. Everyone born has some type of power that radiates them. It's just that alphas tend to have this power more strongly than others and can shift before the average age of 16. There was no doubt in my mind, and apparently Mason's as well, since he was talking at the kids, that these children would rule the strongest packs in the world someday. Strange, since their mother seemed to be fully human. Usually, the gene was recessive when one parent was human. About 95% of the time, any children born of a non-wolf mother was guaranteed to be human as well. After my initial shock was over, I straightened and held my hand out to the powerful Alpha. "Alpha Matthews, it is a pleasure to meet you." We shook hands, although I wish we met on better circumstances. "Likewise," he said before wrapping his arm around his wife again. "This is my Luna and our children." I don't mean to impose, but she insisted she came till we arrive at your pack. I smiled in the rearview mirror about half an hour. Luna. She huffed. I told you to call me Sky. Everyone does. Skylar. Alpha Matthews warned. She shushed him and leaned forward. So tell me, Alpha Rhys, do you have a mate? You can call me Rhys. I smiled politely and yes, I do have a mate. Mason glanced at me in shock, but I quickly shot him down with a glare. The ever so vigilant Alpha caught my look and said from behind me, you have a mate but haven't announced her to the pack yet. I glanced at him in the rear view mirror. She doesn't exactly know about our kind. He snorted. I know how you feel, brother. Sky rolled her eyes. Word of advice, Rhys, be a man when you finally tell your mate. Don't wait like this bozo for 12 years before he had some cajones to tell me what he was. I gave you all the hints. It's not my fault you understand them. She gasped. How dare you? Chapter 21. Kassi Theo. Aries. I screamed, come on buddy. Stay with me. Help. I screamed as I ran to my room quickly. With shaky fingers I managed to grab my phone and dial 911 before running back to Aries' room. It felt like my life was going in slow motion, my legs felt heavy, and I felt like the room was spinning. 911, what's your emergency? A monotone voice answered from the other line. Please come quick, I cried out. I think my brother is seizing and I don't know what to do. I quickly gave the operator our address just as my grandfather ran in. What's wrong? He took one look at Aries and blanched. I ran back to Aries' side, careful to roll him on his side. Thank God I paid attention to my health class. Calm down, ma'am, the operator said. Paramedics are en route. Please hurry, I sobbed. My grandfather started mumbling to himself. I was too distraught to understand his words or what he was saying. I didn't give a damn what he was saying. I only cared about the well-being of my baby brother at the moment. His cuckoo delusions could wait. What felt like hours was probably only a few minutes. The paramedics arrived. I ran down the steps in a trance and was probably faster than the flash at that moment. This way, I sobbed as I opened the front door and ran up the stairs. I heard their thunderous footsteps following behind me on the stairs. By now, it seemed like Aries was finished shaking and starting to wake up. I tried to call his name, but it looked like he was still disorientated. Is he on any medication? A third paramedic asked. I shook my head. No, he's a healthy little boy. He continued to ask me questions as two of the paramedics worked on Aries. They moved him to a gurney and in less than a minute, we were on our way to the nearby hospital. I dialed my mom's number, but the damn thing sent me to her voicemail again. Hey mom, I started. I don't know if you're getting these or not, but I need you to call me back ASAP. Something's happened and I really need you here. Please, call me back. Sissy. A small voice said from the back of the ambulance. I swiveled in my seat and gave him a small smile. Shh, buddy. We're going to be okay. Rest up. We need to make a pit stop real quick to ask about those dreams you have. I texted my mother, called her another 25,000 times, and even wrote her a couple emails in the 10 minutes it took us to get to the hospital and get settled into a room. I was pacing back and forth when a group of doctors came in, asked us some questions, and decided to run some tests. I burst into tears when the test results came back inconclusive and the doctor told us Aries had to be observed overnight. I stayed up the whole morning, just watching Aries sleeping and monitoring the stream of nurses that came in and out of his room. I was exhausted, but I couldn't take my eyes off him. I mean, the old man was here too, but I didn't trust him as far as I could throw him. He would be the last person on earth I would leave my brother's care to. Go home, girl, he said gruffly. I can take care of this. I shot him a dirty look. Why don't you go home? You're just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. I don't need you and neither does Aries. We can take care of ourselves, I snarled. He sighed and grabbed his coffee cup. I'll be back. You need time to cool off. I need some new coffee. Whatever. I turned back to Aries. The door clicked softly behind him, and for the first time since I've been in this god-awful hospital, I relaxed slightly. That relaxation, however, was cut short when the door opened 5 minutes later. I turned, ready to give the old man another piece of my mind when I paused and saw who was at the door. A guy, probably a little older than I was standing in the doorway of Aries' room. He was tall, way taller than me, with a medium-sized build and long shoulder-length chestnut hair. He was staring at Aries with a look I couldn't quite decipher. Excuse me.